Boys and girls, Greg again from the Scary Spirits podcast. Today I'm going to show you how to make another cocktail. Today we are going to make the Spinal Tap Shooter, which is the featured cocktail in today's episode. Right, we're going to take our shaker with ice. To that, we're going to add 1 ounce vodka. Next, we're going to add 1/2 ounce peach schnapps. 1/2 ounce. Close enough. Next, the recipe calls for 1/2 ounce white creme de cacao. I don't have creme de cacao, but I do have creme de cocoa, which comes from the same plant. The spirit is just processed differently from what I've read. Creme de cocoa is a little sweeter, apparently. So, it's fine with me. I don't care. Creme de cocoa. Next, we shake. Finally, we're going to strain it into a shot glass. I call this my shooter glass. I don't know if it is or not. It's a little larger than this shot glass, so yeah, whatever works. Spinal Tap cocktail. Kind of looks like something you might pull out from a Spinal Tap. Yeah. Pretty good. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. See ya.
This week, we are confronted with a moral dilemma. Even if you have good intentions and you're helping someone special, is it ever acceptable to kill a person? Episode number 42 of the Scary Spirits podcast, The Ape, has us potentially rooting for Dr. Adrian as our hero, played by Boris Karloff. But the doc runs around town, callously murdering the townsfolk in order to extract a magical elixir to save his favorite friend, Francis. Francis with an E. It is a credit to Mr. Karloff's acting that somehow, even while convincingly playing an irresponsible, murderous scientist, we still applaud him when he succeeds in his mission. He not only saves Francis, but he also saves this film. Cheers.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg,
Hey, I'm Karen.
and welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing good, Karen.
Ooh. And why is that?
I'm feeling the burn. I got my workout today. I shoveled the driveway and the sidewalk and the walkway to our porch, and then I went for a walk, Karen.
I got my walking in and my shoveling in.
It's a rude awakening from your vacay.
Yes, quite a bit. Just the cold alone was a rude awakening, Karen.
Just a little while ago, you were sipping a nice cold beer from a Scary Spirits.
Tumbler.
What do we call it?
Tumbler.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Available in our merch store.
Lounging by a pool in sunny 60-degree weather, Karen.
Yeah, I wasn't jealous or bitter at all.
But now I'm, feeling the burn. It hurts, but it's a good kind of hurt, Karen. You know what I mean? I'm sore, but it feels good. All right, Karen. Once again, I need to start off this episode with a correction.
Oh.
Well, last week, Karen, we were talking about presidential horror films. Do you remember? You remember that?
Yeah.
And I said the title of the film was Abraham Lincoln Zombie Killer or some shit like that.
Did you say that?
I did say that.
No, I didn't notice.
Karen, do you know what the
It's
actual
vampire.
name?
Yeah. Vampire. It's about vampires.
Right. But title
Vampire.
is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Hunter. I was going to say Slayer, but you're right. It is Hunter.
But I did see that in the theater when it first came out. So again, it's an embarrassing admission. I could not remember that. So 2 for 2, the last 2 episodes with embarrassing admissions.
As embarrassing admissions go, that one's not so bad.
No, but I felt like I had to, set the record straight that, yes, I know.
You had to own it.
I fucked up. I had to own it, Karen. You got to own it.
Yep. Mistakes were made. It's okay.
All right.
Happens all the time with me. So see, I fuck up all the time, but you just fix it post. So
yeah, no one hears your fuck ups, Karen.
Right. That's why I sound so delightful.
All right, Karen, I believe this film was my choice. Was it not?
Yeah, this one's on you.
Yes, it is. So the film I have chosen is The Ape from 1940, starring Boris Karloff. Karen, might you have a...
Yes, Greg, I do.
Please. Well, please, Karen, enlighten us and tell us a story.
Okay. Listen up, children. Dr. Adrian is a researcher looking for a cure for polio that would benefit his young friend Francis, who suffers from the disease. His research centers upon the use of spinal fluid in a serum that could return mobility to sufferers of polio. The escape of a circus ape, naturally, and the injury of its trainer provide an opportunity to test his procedure on Francis, and it provides positive but limited results. Hoping to prove his research and cure his friend, Dr. Adrian sets out to use the ape as a means to provide the necessary spinal fluid for completing his research.
Thank you, Karen, for that brief synopsis.
You're welcome.
And reading that before I watched the film, I wasn't sure that Francis was a female, but Francis is.
Well, it's spelled with an ES, so usually that means female. Usually, it doesn't mean always, but
okay.
I always like that name for a girl. I think it's cool.
And I do have a drink, Karen.
I'm sure you do. Please tell us what it is.
The drink I have chosen for tonight's episode, Karen, is the Spinal Tap Shooter.
Very clever.
See what I did there, Karen?
I do.
Would you like to know how to make it?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So we're going to need 1 ounce of vodka, half an ounce peach schnapps, and a half an ounce white creme de cacao, Karen.
What do you do with all that?
First, I have to say that I did not have white creme de cacao. I thought I did, but I had white creme de cocoa.
Oh, that's what I used.
Which I
They're
investigated. Different? They come from the same plant, Karen, the coca plant, but they are processed differently. Cocoa is processed at a much higher temperature, making it sweeter than the cacao.
Oh, well, I'm glad I got that. Then.
Yeah, me too. That's why I said in the video, I'm like, it's supposed to be sweeter, but hey, I'm cool with that. Right?
Yeah.
All right. So to make the drink, Karen, you combine all those ingredients into a shaker with ice. Then you shake. And then you strain into a shot glass, a large shot glass.
Yes.
Because we're talking 2 ounces of
right.
liquid here. And then, Karen, you shoot it.
I was going to say enjoy.
It's a shooter. You shoot it. I'm not going to do it right now.
Okay, everybody, let's go gather your ingredients and get ready to shoot.
Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Hope everyone has their Spinal Tap Shooter ready to enjoy.
Are we going to stop at a certain point and go, okay,
I don't know.
everybody
Maybe
shoot?
Maybe we should. Maybe we should. I don't know.
Ready, go.
Okay, first off, Karen, did you watch this on the Horror Classics DVD collection?
I did.
So you got your DVD player to work?
I did.
Congratulations, Karen. I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of me too. We watched it from Horror Classics from Mill Creek Entertainment is where I watched it from.
Yeah, 50 movies, which are basically in public domain, right? Which this one is. All right, Karen, are you ready to get into this film?
Well, before we get into it, I would like to know why on God's green earth did you choose this film?
I told you.
You just said because you'd never seen it.
I'd never seen Boris Karloff in anything other than Frankenstein.
That's right, you did. Okay, because
there are other Boris
movies.
Yes, and there are other Boris Karloff movies in there, especially ones where he plays like the detective who, is Oriental or Far Eastern or whatever. I don't know. He did like a whole series of those things.
But you're a big Boris Karloff fan, or
no? I just never.
Was it his birthday around now?
No.
Oh,
right.
So you read that synopsis and thought this is the movie for us.
Absolutely, Karen.
Okay. Awesome. All right, let's get into it then.
You sound disappointed, Karen.
I'm just saying I'm not going to get in trouble for any movie I pick for quite a while.
Seems I've always picked the bad ones, I think. I picked Maniac.
Yeah, I picked The Brain That Wouldn't Die, though.
Well, you knew what that was going in. You know what I mean? Everyone knows what that one is. Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Who picked that? I don't remember.
Me.
But again, that's something you know what it is going in, right?
True.
I think I picked the Vampire Bat, which wasn't really bad.
No, I like that one.
Introduced me to Fay Ray.
Mm-hmm. I like these old, I won't say, well, how can we describe them? I like the old B movies.
Yeah, they're B movies.
Yeah.
Boris Karloff, this was a first of like a 6-picture film deal he did with these people. He might have been trying to get away from the Frankenstein shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Monogram Pictures. Oh, this was the last film. I'm sorry. In his 6-picture contract, he did 6 films with these people, and this was the last one. You think it would be the best one, wouldn't you?
Well, weren't the others when he was the detective?
I do not know. Maybe I'll just pick Boris Karloff films over and over and over again from now on until we get through them all. Okay.
Fantastic.
Yep. All right. Are you ready to get into it?
Yes, I'm sorry. Let's go.
Okay. Well, first, Karen, this film's from 1940, Karen.
Oh, no.
1940. Anything you remember from 1940, Karen?
Anything pop out of 1940 for me? No, not off the top of my head.
Oh, FDR wins election and becomes the United States' first 3-term president. First and only.
I was going to say, and last.
Yeah. Remember when we talked about DuPont inventing nylon?
Yes.
I think that was 30 something, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of those movies we did in the 30s. Well, in 1940, Karen, nylon stockings go on sale.
Woohoo!
Hattie McDaniel became the first African-American actor to win an Academy Award. Do you know who she is, Karen?
I don't.
Well, she won it for Gone with the Wind.
Oh.
So I assume she's the one that says, I don't know nothing about putting no babies, Miss Scarlett. I assume that's her, right?
Hattie. Is it
Hattie?
Hattie? Yeah. Oh, I thought you said Patty. I'm sorry.
No, Hattie.
Hattie. I don't think, was she allowed in or something? There was some controversy around that, I remember.
I don't know. The first Captain America comic book was published.
Okay. Are you a Captain America fan?
I was when I was a kid. I'm more a DC guy now, though. But okay. Due to segregation in the South, Hattie, who won the Academy Award, was not allowed to attend the Atlanta premiere of Gone with the Wind.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
And Winston Churchill became Prime Minister of England, Karen.
Okay.
Anything else you can think of I missed?
I don't know. What was the price of gas in 1940?
I don't know, Karen. What do you think it was? It's pretty close to what it always was back then in the 30s and 40s. Every time I ask you, and you always say what, but it's always what?
I always say Do I always say 18 and it's 19, or I always say 19 and it's 18?
No, neither.
No.
Cost of gas was 11 cents,
Oh,
according to the one I'm looking at now.
okay.
I'm going to take a guess at the average price of a brand new car, Karen.
God, I should know this. See, if we weren't drinking during these things, I'd probably remember this stuff.
How much have you had to drink, really, Karen?
No, I'm talking about then it makes me forget by the end of it.
Yeah. I get it.
$1,800.
Karen, you're only $1,000 off.
Woohoo!
$850.
I like fancy cars.
Apparently, you want to take a guess at the average cost of a new home?
$2,600.
It's not bad, but you're a little low. $3,900.
Oh, I mean, I guess I like little houses,
Yeah, you're
fancy cars.
$1,300 off, which was
Oh, that's
almost the average wages a year back then. So almost. All right, that's enough of that.
I agree.
Yeah, I just haven't done it in a little while, and I thought maybe our listener was missing the educational portion of the program, Karen, or the part where I get to put in the buzzer.
Yeah, right. Where they're going, no, Karen, you dumbass, it's 11 cents
Every time.
every time.
I thought you always said 13 is what I thought you always said.
Maybe I do. I don't remember. You keep picking shooters. I can't remember anything after that.
All right. Now are we ready to get into the film, Karen?
Yeah, finally.
All right. The Ape from 1940. Film begins and we see credits, Karen.
With circus music.
Yes, and they're very circus-like credits.
Yeah, there's photos of circus tents and those circus flags, it's
Yeah.
very circusy.
Yes. And then we see circus trains, Karen. Oh, I think that's in the credits, right? Circus trains.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
And we see the greatest show on earth. And apparently there's a parade with horse-drawn animal carriages and shit and flyers. And apparently the circus has come to town and it's a big fucking deal.
It's a big deal. I mean,
I guess that's the way it was in 1940. I don't know. That was the way it was in Something Wicked This Way Comes, Karen. It was a big fucking deal when the circus came.
I guess.
Especially in the fall, Karen, the dark
Yeah.
circus.
But yeah, the whole town's all a Twitter.
Yes, they are. And we cut to a gas station. Some boys are talking to the gas station guy about the circus.
Everybody's talking about
Everybody's
circus.
talking about it, yeah. Apparently the boys didn't have enough money to see the freak show or some shit. So I don't know. They're talking
Yeah,
about
they
it.
said they had enough money for the circus, but not the sideshow.
So they decided, oh, let's go swimming. And they say, oh, we're going past the doc's house. And so they all grab a bunch of rocks. Can't go past the doctor's house without having rocks ready, Karen, apparently.
These boys are hoodlums. They're hooligans.
Well, remind me later, because I just found out one of them had a very successful career.
All right. But they do. They pick up rocks and throw them at the crazy doctor's house.
Yeah, they said they're going swimming. So I thought they were picking up rocks to like skip them in the lake or wherever they were going swimming. That's what I thought.
Oh, so innocent, Greg.
That's what I thought. That's what I would do, Karen.
See, I knew they were going to throw them either at each other or at something.
I didn't see any slingshots or anything in their back pockets. I assumed they were just going to skip some stones. That's what I did as a young lad.
At Stone Lick Lake.
Yes, Karen, actually,
Yep.
Yes, I did.
Yep.
But anyway, so they come to the doc's house and we see a sign that says Bernard Adrian, MD. And the boys throw rocks at his house. A lot of rocks.
They do.
None of them hit glass, though, which now that I think about was surprising.
Yeah, they had poor aim. Or maybe it was the distance because there was a fence in front of the house.
Maybe they had good aim. Maybe they weren't trying to hit the windows. They didn't want to. They want to be mischievous, but not, cause monetary damage.
These boys are hoodlums. They were trying to cause damage.
All right. So anyway, the doctor rides up on his bicycle, Karen, and catches them in the act.
Yeah, and he grabs one of them.
Grabs one of them, but he doesn't do shit to him. Lets him go.
No, I know. It just scares them, I guess.
Whatever. Next, we see
Do you
the
ever
doctor.
wait? Do you ever get busted doing something like throwing rocks or TP in a house, or anybody grab you by the scruff of the neck? Any adult when you were a kid?
Karen, I would like to plead the Fifth Amendment.
Okay, good plan. Move along.
And partially because I don't know where to start. But
The list is too long.
yes, it is. Next, we see the doctor in his laboratory. And he appears to be checking on the eyes of a couple dogs.
Yeah, he's doing lab stuff.
Yeah, with dogs.
Yes, with dogs. You're right.
And his maid, housekeeper, whatever the hell she is.
His Mrs. Krug.
Yeah. Who we later find out is named Jane, which I thought was interesting. Jane comes in and brings him tea, I believe, or something.
Yes.
I don't know.
She looks like she's very old.
Yes.
And very cranky looking.
Yes. Next, we see the townsfolk in a store. Was it like a drugstore or?
I think it's a pharmacy.
Yeah, I don't know. In 1940, were
pharmacies the meeting place for
the local store was like a store / drugstore / pharmacy. I don't know.
I don't know, because at one point later I say the pharmacy / bar, because all the men folk gather there.
But the town folks are in the store talking about the doctor.
They're talking smack.
And they think he's used townspeople as guinea pigs and shit. And apparently he doesn't have any patients except for one. Apparently, Karen. Don't know. Then the boys come running in, Karen, those hoodlums, as you call them.
Yep.
And he says, he chased after me and I wasn't doing nothing. And he grabbed me.
Yeah, he grabbed me and I didn't do anything.
I wasn't doing nothing.
And this triggered me to remember when we would say stuff to my mom, we'd say, not to call out any specific brother or whatever. He hit me. I was just sitting there doing nothing and he just hit me. And my mom would say, you were just sitting there praying the rosary and he came along and smacked you. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So it's still a joke among us kids that you were just sitting there praying the rosary and your brother just walloped you for no reason. Yes. So there you go.
Then the townsfolk, they talk about kicking the doctor out of town. One of them, I think this Mason guy, he's very verbal, isn't he? Isn't he like a ringleader of these people?
He's the one who I think he's a banker or something.
I think he's an attorney.
Oh.
But he could be a banker. I don't know.
Something about loans. He takes a lot of money from people.
He has some profession of importance in the town.
He's a dick. I mean, he's just, we find out later he's not but.
And as they talk about throwing the doctor out, he walks in, Karen.
Yes, he does. Of course. He's right behind you.
And nobody says boo. Nobody says shit. They're big talkers. They're like those,
big talker, Betty Crocker.
Keyboard warriors, Karen.
Yes, before they were keyboards.
Yes. So he goes back into the pharmacy and begins making some concoction. I assume it's some medicine or something.
He's not going to wait for the pharmacist. He's going to make his own. So he just starts pulling stuff out. That'd be a nice perk.
Yeah, and the pharmacist seems to be okay with it. He goes back and talks to him and even says, we think differently, men like us, men of science.
Yes, men of science.
Yes,
but he does mention that.
Yes, Dr. Karen.
Some of the dogs have been missed. So apparently he's snatched a few of the dogs.
The townsfolk are wondering about those dogs that have gone missing.
Yes.
And Dr. Adrian says that part of the experiment is over. And as far as we can tell, no dogs have been harmed. They've probably been helped. Right?
I guess. Unless he
did something. As we can tell.
As far as we know, we've only seen happy little dogs.
Yes, happy little dogs wagging their tails as he looks at their eyes. Looks deeply in their eyes.
Yeah.
Next, we see the doctor visiting his one patient, apparently. A woman in a wheelchair named Frances.
Yeah,
yes.
She's with her mom in a garden.
And he gives her a necklace or some shit, right?
He asks, how's my girl today? And she's pretty, the girl in the wheelchair. And he's much older than her.
She is.
And she has an Afghan on her lap. Did your grandma ever make you an Afghan like that?
No, Karen.
No, mine did.
No.
We had those Afghans all over our house.
No, I did have a quilt made by an aunt.
Oh, I have
a quilt or two, actually.
Yeah, quilts are nice too. Yeah, but the Afghans were crocheted or knitted, and they had usually very bright colors, but I recognize that pattern. I had one of those.
You recognize that 1940 pattern, Karen?
Well, that's probably when my grandmother was knitting, or crocheting. I think they were crocheted.
Okay.
They were popular in the 70s too, when they were orange and brown.
Here's where we learned that apparently the doctor lost his wife and daughter due to disease. He never gives a name to this disease. No one ever does.
No, they call it the paralysis
Outbreak
epidemic
or
or
some
something.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But apparently it's polio, according to your brief synopsis, Karen, that you read to us.
And this is the only time he really mentions it. And this is a big deal. It's a big motivation for him. You could almost miss it. And he says someone who was just like her would have been 18 last month. I think that's why he gave her the necklace.
Correct. And
I assume it's his daughter, but he lost his daughter and her mother.
I believe he says that it was meant for her to wear. Like he's been keeping this necklace since his daughter was a child.
Oh.
To give to her. Like maybe it was a family heirloom or something. But anyway, this is where we learn his
motivation.
Motivation. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Karen.
He couldn't save the daughter or the mother, but now he has some knowledge of the disease that killed them. It's taken him 10 years.
Next, Danny from the garage comes to visit Francis. Danny and the doctor are going to take Francis to the circus, or Danny is going to go to the circus originally and tell Francis all about it. But the doctor says, take her with you.
Which was a completely creative idea. No one thought of it. Nobody thought she could go. This was like miraculous that she could go to the circus. And then when she's at the circus, she's just sitting there in her chair. No big deal.
Just like everybody else.
Yes. I don't know.
Watching the circus.
They do need help loading her in the back of the pickup truck or whatever it is.
And we see a few scenes of the circus now. And then they load Francis into the back of a truck, I wrote. And I believe the doctor says he will meet them there to help unload her, but he's not staying or some shit like that.
Yeah, he backs out.
Yes, you tells them that Danny and Francis says they should just enjoy the circus by themselves together.
Which was kind of nice because I was getting creepy vibes that he was interested in her, but he's obviously not. No. Beyond a patient. Well,
it's more paternal, right? Karen,
right.
Is that the word?
Yes. But this is where you see that for sure, that there's no competition between Danny and the doctor.
Next, we see the boys at the circus and they're talking about the gorilla. And apparently it's huge.
It's huge. We haven't seen it yet, but
I think that how the boys are, boys will be boys. It was the size of 2 men. It was the size of 3 men. It was huge. It was colossal. Danny and Francis begin watching the trapeze act. And I believe she comments many times on how graceful the trapeze lady is. And at one point, Danny says, it's the costume. I saw her earlier. She didn't look that graceful or whatever.
I don't know why the costume would make you strong enough to be a trapeze artist. I think Francis is just wishing she had that kind of mobility and grace.
Next, we see Dr. Adrian in his lab working on a dog.
Before we see that, though, we do see the guy that we were talking about, whether he was the banker or the lawyer, sitting at the circus with a young girl who is not his wife.
Yeah, and she feels guilty.
Because apparently they're from the same town and everybody's looking at them.
Yes.
But he doesn't care. It's not a big deal, but it does come up a little later.
It does. And pretty much right then I knew he gone.
That's what I said. He's going to be the first one killed is what I said. But
he gone. Next we see the doctor back in the lab working on a dog, really petting it more than working on it. But the doctor says, what I've done for you, I could do for men if they would let me.
I wrote that same thing down.
That's what he says.
It is very profound.
Yes. Now let's go back to the circus. Apparently it's over. And Danny wheels Francis out in her wheelchair in her Afghan.
But again, not very difficult. Just pushes her out.
Not a big deal. Next, we see a circus worker playing taps on a trumpet by an elephant.
Who's dancing.
Yeah, and camels. And then we see a man poking a gorilla in a cage, Karen. He's poking the gorilla. Like
He's
poking the bear.
tormenting him. Yeah, he's tormenting him. Not a nice thing to do.
Yes, and we learn the gorilla's name is Naboo. And Naboo killed this circus tamer's father, the guy who was poking him. Next, Naboo grabs the man through the bars and strangles him. And the man drops his Marlboro into the straw.
You'd think you wouldn't smoke around that kind of environment, but
Karen, everyone smoked in 1940. They all smoked Marlboros. If this were like true to life, the boys have been smoking too.
that's probably true.
But anyway, Naboo escapes as everything catches on fire. And the circus people, they move all the animals out and try to save them and basically grab everything they can carry and run away. Run away.
But what about a fire makes Naboo able to escape? He just busts out of the cage.
He probably always could have busted out whenever he wanted. I mean, he pulls the bars apart to get his hand out to strangle the guy. And then he probably grabs the guy's keys and unlocks the door.
Okay.
The gate and leaves.
Maybe fear of the fire got his adrenaline going.
Yes.
And he busts out.
But the circus people find the ape keeper as they're trying to evacuate, and they put him on a stretcher and take him away. And here's where I wrote, there's fire everywhere.
They do rescue the animals, as you said.
Yes, that's the first thing they do, actually. Mm-hmm. And then they bring the ape keeper to the doctor's house, Dr. Adrian's house. And here's where we learn his helper's or housekeeper's name is Jane.
So they open the door and they bring him in, and he says, "What happened to him?" Do you know what they said? An ape got him. He's mauled pretty bad. But I just thought that was funny. Nobody blinks an eye. What happened? An ape got him.
Yeah. And the man is delirious, I wrote. Dr. Adrian tells the man that he's hurt bad. You're hurt real bad. And the man says, "Don't let me die, doc. Don't let me die." And then the doctor says, "Man, the highest kind of animal." And the man asks the doctor what he's doing. And Dr. Adrian says he's going to write him into medical history and keep a promise.
Yep.
And he has a big syringe in his hand, Dr. Karen.
The kind of needle they use on you in the dentist's office.
I guess.
Big old needle. He does say, "You're perfectly safe here. I'm a doctor." Which is a lie. Not that he's a doctor, but that he's perfectly safe, because he's not.
Well, if he's hurt real bad, if he ain't going to make it, I got no problem with him doing what he wants to do, right? But anyway, next we see the man looking for the ape. Then we cut back to the doctor, and he's writing in a book, Karen.
Well, in research, you keep track of everything in a notebook.
Yes. Did you make a note of what he said, Karen, in the notebook?
I did. Do you want to hear it? Or did you?
I did too.
Go ahead. I'll see if you're wrong.
Would you like?
Because I have it right here. But
that's very negative, Karen. Don't you mean I'll see if you're right? I'll let you know if you're right.
I'll confirm that you are correct.
All right. Doctor writes in his book. He has pretty good penmanship, so I'm fairly sure I got it mostly right.
He does have good penmanship.
Yes. Death of patient due to fracture cervical vertebrae caused by attack of ape. By means of lumbar puncture, 2 cc spinal fluid removed from deceased circus trainer. With this human spinal fluid, will attempt to relieve paralytic condition of patient Francis Clifford by means of spinal injections. How would I do, Karen?
Pretty good.
Anything I got wrong?
Well, you just missed the history of intraspinal injections at the top. That's his entry title.
So I missed the title.
You missed the title.
Oh, at the top of the page. Will I ever get it right? Next, we see the sheriff, and he's dividing the men up into teams to search for the ape. But one man refuses to search. I think it's that Mason Dick, right?
Yep. This is where I said he's next to die.
Yeah. And they walk out and they run into the women of the town, and they're like, oh, what shall we do? What shall we do?
All aflutter.
Yes.
Because the ape's running around.
Tells the women to keep their windows and doors barred. Don't know who the ape will go for next. Next morning, Dr. Adrian goes to see Francis with an ES, and they talk about the circus. The doctor tells Francis that he has found the serum that he needs to cure her. The doctor tells Francis it's going to hurt, but the pain will leave new life behind. Dr. Karen.
This is a new serum that's going to help all the boys and girls who are in wheelchairs.
Next, we see the sheriff going over the search grid with the men, but Mason, the dick, wants an order served on somebody. He ain't got time for all this ape search and shit. He wants an order served on a townsperson. He's just
He only thinks of himself. Yeah.
Here's where I wrote, I think he's the attorney.
He could be.
Next, we see Dr. Adrian visiting Francis again. And Francis can feel her legs, Dr. Karen.
She's kind of complaining.
They're very heavy. She says they feel like lead and she can't lift them. But the doctor he's happy. At least she has feeling. That's
right.
That's a huge first step, he thinks. Next, we see Dr. Adrian back at his laboratory. He tells Jane that his serum is working.
This is a pretty funny, I thought.
And he puts the serum in its little vial down on the table, and it rolls slowly off the table.
They both watch it
onto the floor.
Roll in slow motion almost off the table. Hey, I have this life-saving serum. Woohoo! And puts it down on the table, which is obviously on an angle, and it rolls off slowly onto the floor. It's broken.
The glass vial breaks.
Yes.
Next, we see the ape in the woods. We've seen the ape in the woods prior to this, but this was the first time I made a note.
Me too. It looks like Bigfoot.
And men are searching for him, and they find another body. Oh my God, Karen, it's Will Cox. He's found in his barn, apparently, and he's all torn up. Been dead for hours, they surmise. So they don't even bother bringing him to the doctor. He gone.
Poor Wilcox.
Yeah. What did Wilcox do to deserve that shit?
I don't know.
Next, we see the ape at the window of Dr. Adrian's laboratory, Karen.
And what does he see?
He sees the ape keeper's coat in the room, and he gets all upset, Karen.
The guy who was tormenting him, who got mauled.
It was poking him.
His jacket's on a chair.
So the ape breaks into the window. And
rather dramatically, I thought.
And jumps into the lab. Dr. Adrian throws some liquid, Karen, in the ape's face. Maybe some hydrochloric acid.
That's Karen. What I said, acid, ?
But as the ape hunches over and grabs his face, the doctor stabs him with a knife in the back. And he gone. Pretty easy to kill that ape.
Yeah. One stab with a small knife, and he's...
And it looked more like a letter opener.
It did. It was not an impressive butcher knife or anything, but he's a doctor. Maybe he got an artery.
Yes. Maybe. I don't know.
Because the ape falls dead.
Then the doctor looks at the broken vial of serum on the ground, and a light bulb, Karen, goes off in his head. You can see it. He has an idea. Next, the men come and tell the doctor that Wilcox is dead. He'd been killed by the ape. Next,
but the doctor doesn't mention that he's killed the ape.
No, but Jane goes into the laboratory and sees the gorilla, and the doctor tells Jane that, yes, you are safe now, but keep your mouth shut. Right? Basically.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, you're safe, but don't tell anyone.
Did you think at this point, is he going to take the spinal fluid from the ape? Because, we're pretty genetically close.
Yes.
Or has what's going to happen in the future, without spoiling it for everyone? Which one of those do you think the light bulb was? I thought this was going to go in a totally different direction. Like he was going to take the ape's spinal fluid, inject it into Francis, and she was going to become more ape-like.
Yeah, he's going to do that first, but he's already got the idea that.
So you think
the townspeople know there's a ape loose murdering people. So
all right, so that's what you thought.
Yes.
Okay. He has a plan that he's hatched because of everything that's happening in town.
I have a way to get what I need.
That was your light bulb. My light bulb was, I'm going to take this ape fluid.
Were you going to do that too?
I thought the movie was going to go in a completely different direction. Like she was going to get feeling back, but she was going to be like an ape.
An ape.
That's what I thought was going to happen. So I was wrong, people, as I am often, but that was my movie.
So you were going for the creature, the more the fly thing, right? Where it's like half girl, half
like,
ape.
That's what I was thinking.
Snake
woman, all that kind of,
I'd watch that. That'd be awesome.
Well, because I thought she was so delicate and beautiful, and I thought, what a turn this could take.
It might see 2 bare gorilla breasts, Karen.
Oh, for God's sakes. All right, moving on.
All right, next day,
our movies would be different.
Next day, Francis and Danny. Francis tells Danny that she knows the doctor will cure her now. She has feeling in her legs again, even though they hurt. And Danny kisses Francis on the forehead, Karen. They're kissy facing.
They're in love. But she trusts the doctor, and most everyone else in the town does not. And Danny's not happy that she's in pain, but
Danny doesn't trust the doctor.
Nobody does except Francis and her mother. Yeah.
So next we go back to the sheriff looking for the ape with bloodhounds now. He's got dogs. The bloodhounds start barking in front of the doctor's house. Sheriff goes up to the door and asks the doctor if he's seen the ape. And of course he says, no, I haven't seen anything. Next we see a quick shot of the ape walking out of the house, very upright.
Yes, like Bigfoot.
We cut to Mason and his wife. And I guess Mason's wife had just made dinner. And
Mason is the dick. So he's been the one who's been horrible this whole time. He was at the circus with the young girl, and he's the one who he's not looking for the ape. He's not participating because it's all about him. And we see a bit of his home life here.
And he says, nope, I ain't got time to eat. I'm going out. And his wife says, I know where you're going.
He doesn't care.
Don't you think everyone has told me? Don't you think every time I walk down the street, people tell me that my husband is going out with another woman? He don't care.
Not one bit.
He pretty much tells her she can jump in the river.
Yeah, he was horrible because she said, I don't have anywhere to go.
There's the river.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that was terrible.
Yeah,
you've got the river.
Yeah, he gone and nobody gonna care.
Right.
Next, the ape attacks Mason, Karen. Very quickly. Well, just like I'm not even sure it's a second. Was yours like that?
It was very quick. And they never really show you the ape. It's always kind of in the shadows.
Yeah, for a pre-code movie, you'd think there'd be a lot more, like they wouldn't cut shit so quick like that.
But I think they were being careful not to show a lot of close-ups of the ape because that's a suit, so.
Doesn't matter. There ain't no witnesses, Karen.
No, I'm just saying.
Everyone's going to assume it's the ape.
Right. But I'm saying.
Except for the small puncture mark in the spinal column, Karen. Hello, boys and girls. Karen and I hope you are enjoying the podcast. You know what I think can make your listening experience even better? A delicious themed adult beverage. You can find all our drink recipes on our website, scaryspirits.com, in the recipe den. Tune in every Wednesday and join us for a drink. Now, back to the show. All right, Karen. We're back at the store.
The pharmacy bar.
Yeah. And the sheriff is in there with his bloodhounds. And they talk about how the ape got Mason.
Wah, wah. Ape got Mason. As we all knew he would. So before we go any further, the quality of this film was bad.
Terrible.
Terrible. It's another one of those films that's, what was it? Did I say? It's like watching a scratched up album. It flickers. There's big bubbles in it. This is not a high quality film. There are very dark parts.
Yeah, at least the version we watched. There are probably better versions out there. You know what I mean? It may have been restored at some point, but that's not the version we were watching.
It's not visually appealing in a lot of spots.
Nope. So then Dr. Adrian enters the store, Karen, and the bloodhounds all follow him. And they bark at him as he leaves the store. That's the kind of shit I get. That's the kind of treatment I get around here, Karen. Barking at me all the fucking time. I get barked at all the time. Neighbors' dogs, my dog, they all bark.
Why are you out there killing gorillas?
No, maybe I should, Karen. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem. So then someone says, even the dogs don't like him, Sheriff. So,
Maybe it's your black soul. Dogs can sense that, you know.
I've had dogs, Karen, that loved me. So
You just said every dog barks at you. You just said that to
but
me.
I have had dogs myself. My dogs
Hellhounds?
loved me.
Yes. Your hellhounds?
Whatever.
Yes.
Whatever. They love me. It's all that matters. Next, we see Dr. Adrian in his lab, and he's making a new serum.
He has some more serum. Where could it have come from?
Maybe a spinal tap, Karen. Next, we see Danny at Francis's house again.
Francis
mother.
looks weak. Yeah.
And Danny is scared, Karen. He's not sure that what the doctor is doing is helping. And Danny says he's going to go confront Dr. Adrian.
He doesn't want him experimenting on her.
Right.
And he loves her the way she is.
Yeah. Next, we see Dr. Adrian coming up to the house, and Danny stops him. So he didn't have to go far to confront him. Karen.
Right. They ran into each other.
Yes. And he tells the doctor he's scared. He doesn't want the doctor experimenting on her. Dr. Adrian tells Danny to go back to his garage and take care of his cars, damn it.
Don't interfere.
That's right. You take care of your cars, I'll take care of my patients, boy. More or less, right?
Pretty much.
Doctor goes in, they tell the doctor that Francis is in great pain. But he says, that's good. He asks Francis's mother to prepare her for another injection.
Before we move on, all of these procedures that he's doing on Francis are done off camera.
Yes.
We don't see anything.
No, we do not see them disrobing Francis and
I was thinking more
injecting
needle.
her.
I was thinking more the big ass needle going in her spine, but okay.
Next, we cut to a scene, Karen, with the coroner. And he's talking to a doctor from up north, Karen, right?
Yeah. Did he call him in? Why did this
He
doctor
must have called,
show up?
he must have called him in because they just had Wilcox just died and had very similar wounds to the ape dude. And the coroner called this guy in from up north to help him with his investigation into the death of Mason. No, it's Mason. Because Mason's dead now too, I forgot. Apparently they all have a puncture wound in their spinal column, Karen,
And a fractured vertebrae.
which the coroner finds odd for an ape attack.
True. Would be pretty good skill for an ape to have.
Yeah, but even the ape trainer from the circus had it too.
Yes.
Coroner tells the doctor about Dr. Adrian and his experiments on paralyzed people because apparently there was an epidemic of paralyzation, right? Dr.
Yeah. Do you
Karen?
want to know about polio?
I would love to know about polio, Dr. Karen.
Well, I didn't know a lot about it because it seems like, so long ago, and this surprised me that most people who get infected with polio, about 72 out of 100, will not have any visible symptoms.
Huh.
Now, in your head, when we were younger, we got back, everybody should have gotten the vaccine even now, but it was a big deal because our parents dealt with it.
Yes, the polio vaccine saved millions of lives, probably, Karen, right?
Well, yes, it was a real thing to
including
our parents.
Neil Young's and Joni Mitchell's, apparently, which I didn't know about, but go on.
Okay, so 72 out of 100 won't have any symptoms, any visible symptoms. And then 1 out of 4, all they get is flu-like symptoms, which are, sore throat, fever, whatever. Only about 1 to 5 out of 1,000 will develop more serious symptoms, which is, paralysis, meningitis, things like that. And paralysis is the most severe symptom, and it can lead to permanent disability and death. Between 2 and 10 out of 100 people who have paralysis from polio will die because the virus affects the muscles that help them breathe. That's where the iron lung and all that comes in. It's transferred with contact with feces of an infected person. or droplets from a sneeze or cough of an infected person. So that's why kids got it more often than adults, because kids are playing with toys that other kids have played with, who they sneezed or coughed on or had feces on. I just found it interesting. I thought it was a lot more.
I kind of remember it being kind of a big deal when we were kids.
Well, yeah. Well, it is, because even though a small number of people
kind of showing our age, but
a small number of people showed those symptoms in a large country, that's still a lot of people. Even though it's a small percentage, it's still a lot of people. It was a scary thing.
probably more for our parents than us, which is why it was kind of a
or
big
even
deal,
grandparents.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I remember being there a lot of that. You know what
we
I mean?
saw the pictures of all the kids in the iron lungs. It was a generation or two removed from us, but it was still very vivid to a lot of those people. But I was surprised at how few people showed symptoms. I thought it was a lot more virulent. Well, I guess it spread easily, but not a lot of people actually got serious symptoms.
Well,
from
serious symptoms. You're right. Yeah.
But it still was a very scary thing.
But then we got the vaccine, Karen, and
ta-da,
we're all good.
Yep. We don't even think about it now.
No,
So,
we don't.
They don't ever identify this paralysis epidemic in this movie as polio, but every description that I've seen of the movie identifies it as polio.
Correct. True that, Dr. Karen. Do you think they knew it was polio at the time they filmed it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's 1940s. Yeah. It was rampant in that time.
They want
30s to
give
50s,
it a name. Why wouldn't they want to give it a name?
I don't know. But 30s to 50s was pretty much when it was.
You think they were worried about political ramifications?
Karen? I don't know. You think it was copyrighted?
I don't know.
Maybe they did and it got cut. Who knows? But
I don't know. Whatever.
Everybody knew what it was, obviously.
So next we see Frances, the doctor, and her mother. Dr. Adrian convinces Frances that she can move her foot. She says she can't, but he keeps telling her that she can.
He's screaming at her.
Yeah, and she does. I kept thinking watching this, in today's world, she would be going to physical therapy.
Yes.
She would be taking these spinal injections and going to physical therapy. But
in the old days, you just screamed at someone.
Yeah, her physical therapy was the doctor yelling at her, "Move your foot! Yes, you can!" Right? Do it, damn you!
Like a coach. It worked. She did.
Yeah, she did. Next, we see the doctor from up north who the coroner called in. Apparently, he's from the Robinson Foundation, Karen.
Dr. McNulty.
Ooh, the Robinson Foundation.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck that is.
It's not anything I know about.
Okay. But he's waiting on Dr. Adrian when he arrives home. And he questions Dr. Adrian about the puncture to the spinal column on all the victims. He ain't buying the whole ape story, Karen, I don't think. And then we learned that apparently the Robinson Foundation was forced to expel Dr. Adrian because of his experiments 25 years earlier.
His radical experiments.
Radical.
With spinal fluid.
Yes. And the doctor is still trying to prove his theories. Dr. Adrian begs the doctor from the Robinson Foundation, if I could show you proof, right? Would that make everything okay?
Yeah.
So he pulls out 2 guinea pigs, and apparently the guinea pigs were once paralyzed, but now they can walk, according to him. That's what he tells them.
He just pulls them out of 2 boxes, like tiny not much bigger than the guinea pigs themselves. And they've just been sitting on the counter. And he's like, see, these guys used to be paralyzed. Ta-da, they're not anymore.
Yes. Yeah, I thought since he had 2 boxes, there was going to be an A and a B, right?
But that still wouldn't prove anything. But
I don't know. Well, we could say these were both paralyzed. It's still his word, but whatever.
Well, right. And one would be the control, which
Yes.
is still paralyzed.
Yes.
And the other would be the one that he fixed.
Right.
But there's no way to show that they were whatever.
Correct.
I just thought that part was kind of funny.
Yeah. It was.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! They're both walking.
Look at me. I can do that here. Look. Ta-da! Look at this cat. It's fixed.
Hear that dog barking?
Yeah.
It was mute.
Ta-da! That's proof.
Yep. So next, Dr. Adrian takes the doctor from the Robinson Foundation, and he has a name. I should use his name.
McNulty, I think. McNulty.
McNulty. Yes, Dr.
Yeah.
McNulty. Takes him to see Frances.
Frances has been paralyzed for 10 years.
Yes. They tell the Dr. McNulty that her legs are in a great deal of pain, but she did move her foot earlier. And Dr. McNulty asks the mother, is that correct? And she confirms that, yes, she did move her foot, but she cannot do it for them now. Dr. Karen on command.
Because,
move your foot!
Well, he doesn't yell at her the same way, so she's not motivated.
No, but Dr. McNulty does have a hand on her knee, Karen. Yes.
As you do.
Next, Frances and her
That's
mother
your kind
leave.
of doctoring.
Well, I might have to listen to her heart too, Karen.
That's right. Both. One hand on the knee, listening to her heart. Yes.
Yes, but Frances and her mother leave. And Dr. McNulty says he did feel definite muscular movement in her leg. And he's very excited.
Yeah, he's like, congratulations to our good Dr. Adrian.
Yeah.
Like, one case, and he believes him.
Yeah.
Anecdotal. He shakes his hand. Congratulations. You're back in the Robinson Foundation.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking.
Well, he asked him to come back, but Dr. Adrian refuses.
But he doesn't see him do the procedure. He doesn't see what this girl looked like before. He just is so excited. This is bad scientific method right here.
Dr. Karen, we saw how she was before. We know.
Okay.
The audience knows, Dr. Karen.
Do we?
Yes. But Dr. Adrian refuses to come back to the Robinson Federation, whoever the fuck that is, and promises to keep them informed of his
Robinson's Federation or Foundation. I think it's
the only Robinson's thing I know is the Robinson Brewery in England, which makes Trooper beer.
Swiss Family Robinson. So yeah, our good doc decides to stay local.
Yeah, stay local, and he will keep them informed of his.
That was the funniest part of the whole movie to me.
His medical breakthroughs.
Yes.
Next, we see the ape walking through the woods, very upright.
Bigfoot ape.
Yes, and the boys see him too.
The hooligans are out with guns.
Yes, well, one of them has a gun, and he shoots the ape, Karen.
Okay, so at this point, did the doctor skin the ape? Is it a meat suit? Is it just the fur?
We're not there yet, Karen.
We know.
Yes, he skinned the ape, Karen.
So he's
wearing it as a meat suit.
It'd be totally gross.
It's no worse than, Texas Chainsaw Guy did, or what's his name?
Oh, well, that's a good example. It's no worse than him.
Edward Ginn. What the hell is that guy's name?
Yeah, but what did he do with the rest of the ape parts? Is that what he was doing in the front yard? When the dogs went crazy, was he burying the ape? When they were talking about bugs or something?
Insects, killing insects with a special formula of this.
Was he like?
I don't think so.
No.
We don't care.
All right.
We don't care what happened to the inners, Karen. We don't care.
Okay. I just think it would be gross wearing an ape. But okay, proceed. Nobody cares.
All in the name of science, Karen.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to save Frances.
Yeah.
Whatever he has to do to save Frances, that's what he will do, even if it involves wearing a bloody ape suit.
Rotting ape suit.
Right. Next, we see the townspeople at the sheriff's office, and apparently they think the boys are missing. But just then they all run in and tell the sheriff that they shot the ape with a .22. Shot him with my .22, Sheriff. Down by Wilcox's barn. The sheriff take them in to go investigate the boy's story.
They don't really believe them because they say, "Where's the gun?" And one kid says, "He dropped it." And the boy says, "No, the apes just came up and took it from me." So they are known for their embellishments. Let's just say that.
Next, we see the doctor in his lab fixing his wound, which I thought was interesting. Where was he
Yeah.
shot, Karen?
I couldn't tell exactly.
Originally, I thought it was in the neck.
I think it was in
when
the
he's in
ribs.
the ape suit, I feel like he reached up for his neck, but he is bandaging his ribs. I could be wrong, Dr. Karen.
Does an ape have thick skin? Could it have stopped the bullet a little bit?
Probably.
Because he doesn't seem all that injured after being shot.
He
with
probably
22.
left a lot of like muscle and shit in there too.
Ew, just so gross.
I mean, he's not a taxidermist, Karen.
Right,
He's a
exactly.
doctor. So the sheriff wants to talk to the doctor next. Sheriff questions the doctor about why the dogs keep sniffing around him and his property. Dr. Adrian shows the sheriff the circus keeper's coat that he still had in his house.
I thought that was pretty quick
Convenient.
thinking on his, thinking on his feet.
Good for him. He says that may be why the dogs are sniffing around, and sheriff says,
Well, that's why the ape's hanging around his house.
I think you might be right.
So the sheriff's going to stay close and watch his house.
But he sends the townsman out to continue looking for the ape, but he stays behind. Next, we see Dr. Adrian with Frances. Apparently, it's the next day again. He tells Frances that she must believe that she is not paralyzed. He convinces Frances to move her legs by yelling at her.
Yes, really yelling at her.
Huh? That's what you got to do, these people, Karen. He tells Frances to stand up and take a step towards him, but she can't get up.
He's yelling, do it! Do it!
The doctor says to himself, she needs more. She needs more of the serum.
He's surprised, but resigned to the fact that she does need more.
Yes, so he says he will be back. Dun, dun, dun. Next, we see the sheriff. Apparently, he's driven to the next town, wherever the circus has moved on to. And he's talking to a circus worker. And he questions the circus worker about what apes eat and how they behave. Dr.
Because
Karen.
they can't find the ape.
Apparently, this guy's a primate expert.
Well, he's a circus dude. He's a trainer. He just wants to know their habits.
Well,
and-
they eat fruit and bananas.
Well, vegetables. They could be hanging out near a garden. They
Yeah.
can't catch the ape, but it keeps
Don't
killing
kill
people.
mammals unless they're mad.
Right? Unless they deserve it.
Yeah. Circus worker tells the sheriff that the smell of the animal's keeper jacket would draw the ape in.
So that verifies the doctor's story, which is nice.
Which the sheriff finds very helpful.
Yes.
He's
So
very
that's
proud.
convenient.
He's very happy to hear that. Next, we see Dr. Adrian in his laboratory. He gives his little black book to Jane, Karen.
His lab notebook.
Tells her to keep it safe.
He writes in it that 2 injections should have been enough, but he needs one more.
Yeah, he says he needs one more.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we see the sheriff and the townsman looking for the ape again. Sheriff divides the men up again, and they're all getting a little tired of this shit, just as I am. At
Yes.
this point.
Assigning them to their positions. I mean, and it's always at night, right? And do apes only come out at night?
I don't think they're nocturnal, Karen.
I don't think they are either, which was weird.
So the sheriff comes to see the doctor again, Dr. Adrian, and Jane tells him that he is not there. Sheriff tells a couple of the townsmen that the circus guy told him that the ape would haunt anywhere that animal keeper had been. So they're all hanging out. Next, we see men at Wilcox's barn, where they found Wilcox's body.
And the other guy too, right? Isn't this the area where everybody gets killed?
No, just Wilcox, I think. And then the ape comes and attacks one of the men, Karen. But the man stabs the ape with a knife, a big knife, like a Bowie knife this time, not
Not a leather
a
opener.
letter opener.
We know that's lethal to an ape.
Yes. And then the men fire a shot, bringing the other men to the barn. The other men arrive, and then they all go chase after the ape.
They leave the guy that got attacked just laying there.
No, he says he's fine.
Oh,
He's
did
fine. Yeah, he stabbed it. Go on and get him. Next, we see the ape running through the streets, Karen.
He's in bad shape.
Frances is in her wheelchair in her front yard, as she always is. And she sees the ape and wheels herself out in the street in her wheelchair.
Well, the ape's running back to the doc's house.
The doctor's house, Dr. Adrian's house.
Yeah, so
which
she
must be
sees
right
it.
across the fucking street from
I
Francis.
know. I didn't
guess.
realize that either.
I didn't either.
But apparently that's true.
So Francis
And
yells at the doctor to
look
warn
out,
him,
it's the ape. It's the ape.
and the townsmen all arrive, and pachoo! They shoot the ape, Karen.
On his front porch.
Yes, on the doctor's front porch. And the sheriff walks up and he begins examining the ape. First, he feels for a pulse, just like you would. Right. And against it, he discovers, he just takes the head off and, it's the doctor.
It's the Scooby-Doo moment.
Yes, he finds
Let's find out who this ape is.
Yeah, he finds that it is Dr. Adrian in the ape's skin.
Ugh.
Frances arrives, Dr. Karen, in her wheelchair, but she stands up.
She rolls to the front of the crowd.
Yes, and gets up out of her wheelchair, and she yells for Dr. Adrian. And Dr. Adrian tells her to walk. Walk to me, child. Walk, damn you.
Yeah. She does.
And she does. And then he gone.
And then he dies.
He gone.
So he gets to see his success.
And Frances cries. Frances with an ES cries. Next scene, we see Danny coming to see Frances. And he begins to walk towards her, and she says, stop. She wants to walk towards him. And then Danny wants to get her wheelchair, but Frances tells Danny that they got rid of it and she's never going to use that chair again.
They burned it, is what she said.
They burned it?
Yes. Which would be a nice ritual if you've been in it for 10 years and now you could get up and walk. I can see that.
But she says she's never going to use that chair again. The end.
The end.
All right, Karen. A lot to process in this film. I'm so glad I picked it.
Well, stand by it. Don't show weakness.
Anything you were pleasantly surprised or really enjoyed in this film, Karen?
I think that I was a little surprised that Boris Karloff is a pretty good actor, at least compared to everyone else in this film.
Yes.
He
After I watched this, I was thinking about what I would be pleased with, and that was what I came up with.
Yeah, that he can act, because when you think about it, he's kind of the bad guy. I mean, he's the one murdering people in the town. He's murdering people, but somehow we still feel sympathy for him and we're rooting for him to succeed. I think that's his acting that lets you feel sympathy for him while he's doing horrible things.
He's a tragic hero or whatever, right?
Yeah, but if you look at it in straight black and white, he's murdering people for his own benefit, right? To further his...
I don't think he cares. Well, he might.
It's his hubris
Yeah,
for his experiments,
I think
right?
I think he would.
But you feel sympathy for him and you root for him. And I think that's just...
Although he declines to go back to the Robinson Foundation, Karen.
No, he obviously cares very much for Frances with an E, but he's
like
really
a father figure to her, because
the core
apparently
is...
she has no father, because we never see him.
The core of his motivation, even though they want us to believe it's that he lost his daughter and is trying to, reconcile with that, it's he wants to succeed with his research. So
yeah, but I think he does want to save people from the fate he suffered.
I do. I agree. But I think it's his acting that helps us feel the way they want us to feel about the film, where he is not the villain. We are more upset with the guy who's a dick to his wife than the guy who kills 3 people.
So he's the anti-hero, right? Isn't that what it is?
I don't know, but I think his acting was stellar compared to everyone else's.
Yeah, that's what I came out with this. The only thing I would be pleased with about this film is his acting. So,
okay, we're a match, Greg.
We're a match. Yeah, he did it. Yeah, he was good in this, I thought, or a lot better than everyone else.
Yes.
So, I don't know if it's just comparing him to everyone else makes him good or not, but
right, I agree.
Anything you were very disappointed in, Dr. Karen?
I will say two things I was very disappointed in.
Okay.
One, I just found it kind of boring. Like you said, they're sending him out to look for the ape again. There wasn't a lot of variety. It just wasn't a very exciting movie. I thought it was kind of boring overall. And I like my version better, where if she's going to get ape spinal fluid, she should have been a little more apey. I was disappointed it didn't go in that direction. I get why it didn't, but that would have been my disappointment. Like the beginnings of Planets of the Apes, you know?
Yeah, I never went there.
What about you?
It's just not a good film. I mean, it's just
no, but why? But why?
Again, I guess the screenplay, I guess you would say, because I got
because
tired.
It was boring.
I got fucking tired of seeing the guys. You two go over here. You three go over here, and you four go over here.
Right, and it's only an hour long. So the fact that they did that like 6 different times, I guess there wasn't really much character development.
Well, it's only an hour long.
Right, but that's what makes it not a good movie.
I mean,
we don't know
Francis.
We know his motivation with his wife and child, apparently, but what had happened to Francis when, what's the backstory? Where's her dad? Why is she paralyzed?
Yeah, they never even said polio.
Right.
There was just a paralysis epidemic.
Yes.
Everybody got paralyzed all of a sudden. We don't know what happened. Not a great film. It was even harder. Not just the film, the plot, the screenplay, the physical film itself was hard to watch.
True. Right? That's what, the quality of the film. No, it's not the cinematography.
No.
It just, the copy.
Yeah.
With the glitches and
there
the
might
bubbles.
be better versions, like I said,
right,
restored or better. And there was a soundtrack which I wasn't mad about, so I guess it's fine. Right?
Yeah, it didn't annoy me.
No, it didn't.
But I didn't notice it either.
I wondered if Barnum and Bailey had some stake in this film, though, because they did show like the greatest show on earth. That was like the first scene.
They probably didn't want any stake in it.
Well, after they saw it, it started very much like, oh, this is going to be like a circus film, because they had the circus themed credits and everything. And then
she could have become a sideshow once she got her ape fluid.
Yeah,
she becomes ape woman and runs off with the circus. It writes itself, people. It writes itself. Well, look at Snake Woman. He was given the one mad doctor was giving her venom, and the kid was a snake lady. So it could happen.
All right, Karen, what kind of cocktail rating are we giving this? I tried to predict before even watching it when I feel I'm terribly wrong. So go on.
That's at least a 4.
I was hoping it would be at least a 3, but I agree. It's a 4.
You think it's a 4? You think it's a 5?
I don't know. Have we ever given a 5?
We haven't given a 5, and it's not.
Well, if we haven't given a 5, this isn't the worst thing we've seen.
What's the worst thing we've seen?
I mean, Maniac was pretty bad, even though there were lots of bare breasts.
Well, see, it redeemed itself. But it wasn't boring. It was just weird. Even Plan 9, it was terrible, but it was still entertaining. This is terrible without being entertaining, I think.
We might have given Plan 9 a 5, actually. Now that I think about it, I'm looking it up. Plan 9, we gave 5.
This is a 5 then.
You think it is? You think it's as bad as Plan 9?
Plan 9, I was still entertained.
You weren't entertained by this at all?
Not as much as I was by Plan 9. Well, this one I found boring and slow, and it seemed a lot longer than an hour. I mean, we can give it a 4, but
I'm not opposed to giving it a 5. I mean, Plan 9 was entertaining because it was so stupid.
Yes, but you were still entertained. You still.
Yeah, that's true.
This one, I would watch Plan 9 again just because it's funny. I wouldn't watch this again. I'm happy to have seen it. Most movies I've never really hated any, but I don't think if this was on late night, I don't think I'd watch it.
All right, let's give it a 5. Boris Karloff's acting is the only saving grace then. All right, Karen.
In my opinion, yes.
We don't want to offend Boris, but this movie is a 5. You did your best,
Yes.
Boris.
Yes, you tried, but you couldn't save it.
Bless your little heart. You did your best.
Well, he really shone in this. He was the shining moments, You could see he could act. I think you're right. I don't even think the actors were the problem. I do think it was definitely the script.
Before we started, I was looking at the cast, like I thought I recognized some of them and stuff. And a lot of them have a lot of credits. I mean, they've been in lots of stuff.
So who's the successful boy?
Oh, Stan Jolly is uncredited, but he was one of the boys in the soda shop or the whatever the hell it was. Don't know which one he is, but he went on to become an art director, production designer, known for Witness, Superman, and Caddyshack.
Wow.
So he's a rather large filmography, including Mr. Ed.
I never watched that show.
But he's got director credits, producer credits. He was a director on MacGyver for one episode, Karen.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he had a successful career in Hollywood after acting as one of the boys in this film. Good for you, Stan Jolly. He died in 2012, but yeah, everyone has lots of credits that were in this film. So, do you know who played Naboo?
I don't know. Was it a stunt man?
Ray Corrigan, Karen. He was a physical fitness trainer for the Stars. Yeah, so he played lots of movies too, but apparently he was Naboo before Naboo died. And Boris took over. I don't know.
I will say the ape costume.
He probably was Naboo and he was supposed to be Boris. So Boris ain't gonna put that shit on, walk around.
The ape suit wasn't terrible. I've definitely seen worse.
Yeah, for 1940, it was pretty good.
I was not incredibly disappointed by it. I should have said I was pleasantly surprised by the ape suit. And I know they filmed.
There was one scene where he was in the woods and he was like growling at the camera and it looks pretty fake. But other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. He looked like a big old ape. I mean, huge. So he just walked upright all the time.
Well, he didn't until he was dead.
Once he was
until Boris was in the suit. But
yes, true.
Well, he wasn't Boris, which means that Ray, he showed his chops as, he could act as a gorilla and he could act as a normal man in a gorilla's costume.
The range.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for, Karen. Ray Corrigan. Wow. That range.
Way to go, Ray.
All right, 5 cocktails then. All right, any comments on on my Spinal Tap drink that I found?
It's not terrible.
It's very peachy smelling.
I sipped it, so I did not do a shooter.
I did. When making the drink for the YouTube video, Karen, I shot it. So I had to make another one. You got to give the people what they want.
You can watch Greg make every drink on our YouTube channel.
Yes, and it's getting lots of
love lately.
Yeah. So good. People are watching the YouTube, watching me make drinks. But please remember, people, I'm not a bartender. I just play one on the internet.
But he's getting pretty good at it.
One day I may have my stepdaughter come in and actually do a guest shot and actually make a real drink like a real bartender.
We should have you side by side.
Well, no, no, we're not doing that. No.
Who does it better?
I'll just have her do it. She knows what she's doing. So.
Well, she is a beautiful young lady, so she might get a few more hits than you. No
True
offense.
that. All right. But you thought it was fine, the drink?
Yeah.
I do too.
I thought it was a clever, very clever choice.
I'm not sure why it's called Spinal Tap Shooter, but it tastes good. Get a lot of the peach.
Yeah.
A little of the cocoa, I guess. I don't know.
I also like that we had all the ingredients.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Yes. That is nice, Karen.
That we didn't have to buy anything special.
All right, Karen, anything we learned today?
only learned a little about polio, even though it wasn't really mentioned in the film.
Correct. It was in the synopsis, though.
Yes, it was.
So I guess it's basically known that that is the ailment that we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Paralysis
Epidemic.
Didn't the guy from Cincinnati come up with the vaccine for that shit, Karen?
His name was Salk.
I thought that was Saban. What did Saban come up
Was it
with?
Saban? I don't know. Wasn't it Salk? I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing them. They're both S's. And I did a shooter. Salk. What did you say?
Saban.
Jonas Salk, inventor of the polio vaccine.
Dr. Albert Sabin. He developed the oral polio vaccine right here in, Cincinnati Children's Hospital in Cincinnati, Ohio. Anything else we learned today? 1940s facts.
That I like fancy cars and small houses.
Well, I think we all knew that, Karen.
But I'm terrible at guessing.
All right, Karen, anything else?
I don't think so. Can you
About
think
this
of
one?
anything else?
Anything we need to
There wasn't a
cover?
whole lot in this that my
No.
grandmother knitted Afghans.
Afghans, yeah.
That I did a lot of praying the rosary.
All right, Karen, I believe the next film is your choice.
It is.
Next week, what is our film, Dr. Karen?
Well, I'm still going with
The month of
February's
love.
the month of love.
Okay.
So
God bless you.
I know you love it. We're going with The Bride of Frankenstein,
Oh, okay.
1935.
Do you have a drink, Karen, for that film?
I do.
Okay. What would that be?
It's called The Hair Raiser.
The hair
Razor. Raiser.
The HAIR.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, when I say razor, it kind of sounds like RAZOR, like, not the hair razor, but the hair razor.
Okay. So the hair razor, like
'cause
raising the hair on your head.
Because she's got the big hair,
Okay. All
right?
What are we going to need for that, Karen?
We're going to need 1 ounce of vodka,
Okay.
1 ounce of sweet vermouth,
Okay.
and
Got
tonic
that.
water.
Yeah, I got all that shit.
Garnish with a lemon or a lime in a highball glass.
Awesome. The Bride of Frankenstein. I've never seen that film.
I don't think I have. I've seen scenes, obviously.
Yeah, you see parts of it, but I've
You
never
know.
sat down and watched it from start to
I
finish.
know what she looks like.
Is it starring Boris Karloff and what's her name? Elsa.
That's it.
Chester and Boris Karloff. So we're going 2 Boris Karloff films in a row, Karen.
Getting crazy.
Wow, crazy. I wonder if I can come up with a third.
You're stealing February instead of it being
I bet I can. Or
the month of love. You're making it the month of Boris Karloff.
Okay. That would be episode, 43.
Yeah, we're getting close to 50.
Crazy. All right. Anything else, Karen?
I don't think so.
All right, Karen. Anyone you need to thank this episode?
You know who I'm going to thank, Greg?
Who, Karen?
I'm going to thank your boss, Mark, because he seems to take my side in things. He thinks that you should give me more correct answers. You're too tough on me.
Whatever.
Thanks, Mark.
You don't know
I
what he's talking
appreciate that.
about.
What about
Yeah.
you, Greg? Who are you going to thank?
Well, I need to once again thank Verse 13, Karen, for providing all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
Yeah, we're expanding it. Are you coming up with new things or using the same ones?
Using the same old ones.
Thank you, verse 13.
It's easy. It's easier that way. But you never know. I may throw in something here and there.
The music does make the podcast better, I think.
I agree. Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.